Well, good evening. Welcome to Rochester School District meeting for 12/11. And at this time, call to order. And we shall now do the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. All right, at this time, we will do roll call. And tonight, Thomas Trott and Susie Haas have both been excused. And Michael Langer,
Present.
Grant Rodever.
Here.
And I'm Neil Turner. I'm the Vice President of the Rochester School Board. All right, so we got our roll call done. And at this time, do we have any public comments on for tonight's agenda? No one's in the hallway, no one's in the room, no one online. Shall we wait 25 seconds?
No, we're good.
Very good, all right. And then we will move on to recognition. We have an RHS accreditation plaque.
Yes. So I'd like to invite Principal Fiona up. Last year, in Kevin's first year as being a principal, not only did he have to make it through being a first-year principal, but he also guided the building through an accreditation process. And we finally received the plaque. The accreditation process is a deep study of the building, and then it's a vision setting for where are we going to go next? Where is our improvement going to be? What are the goals for the future? It's they dug in, they looked at data, and then had different groups sit down and look at data and shared where they were right now, and like I said, then where they were headed to the future. So I want to congratulate Kevin and the high school team for getting this done, and nothing with the plaque. There we go. All right.
Neil wants to shake my hand.
Yeah.
Good job, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay a picture with them.
Okay. Not gonna embarrass you if I have.
Then we can light up the picture. Yeah, do we want it lit up?
Want me to light it up? Can.
Work.
I don't know.
Who is the
accrediting body?
It was, right now, the ESDs throughout the state. Oh, sorry. I don't need that.
Neil was confused.
The ESDs for the state do an accreditation process now, so that's what we did through.
Excellent.
What's the cycle on that? How often?
It's good until 30.
6 years.
6 years?
We do a revisit in 2 years, but it's a quick visit. It's way simpler. And then 4 years. after that.
Progress monitoring.
Do they credit just the high schools or do they do others?
Yeah, because we grant credit for transcripts, and so that's how it's about. So just high school and above does it. It's not for lower levels because they don't grant credit.
Okay,
Awesome.
thank you.
That's why we did.
I know you want to damn
Time.
It's gonna volunteer. We can make a process like that.
Yeah. Well, at this point, we are now on to number 5, our consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve our consent agenda tonight?
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Got a second? All right. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay. On to reports. Number 6, we have our student reps today.
Okay, so sports first. Boys basketball, I asked Tristan about this. So they've been improving each week, and he believes that wins will start coming here soon. They definitely have improved under Coach Sells. He was a good choice. Everyone on the team thinks that he's gonna start making big changes in our program really soon. They said that they feel a lot more comfortable with him, and they feel more as a team and not just individuals just grouped together. For girls basketball, I asked Captain Mercedes DuPont to give us a little spiel. She says that they've been working really hard at practice and games. We've all improved majorly, not only as individuals, but as a team compared to our first game together. We are a young team, mostly made up of sophomores and freshmen. We are still learning how to work together on the floor. Coach Kelly Rivera's, I think, truly has helped us improve and really pushes us to be the best version of ourselves while still holding us accountable. This year, the team captains are KK Lani Kinsella Citron and Mercedes DuPont, who are both seniors. The spirit sections at both girls and boys basketball games are very loud in supporting the team. So we're bringing a lot of people in and getting the school spirit that they need. For wrestling, they just finished their first wrestling tournament at home. It was a big success. They had a great turnout of both athletes and fans. We had 15 plus schools, all wrestling tough matches and bringing some good competition. Tomorrow, the Warriors will travel and take on Black Hills at the weeknight duel, excuse me. Over winter break, they will host a wrestling youth camp to boost interest at high school wrestling and also support and teach our young wrestlers valuable skills that will help them in their matches. Winter cheer, they've been cheering at every home game, basketball and wrestling event, bringing home more school spirit than ever. Their team has been working hard on a holiday halftime to perform Their team has been working hard on a holiday halftime to perform before winter break as well. Bowling under Coach Smith, we are improving every day, no matter if it's just 1 or 2 pins each frame, or getting 6 strikes in a row. We've been improving a lot. We've beat Tumwater by 441 pins, Black Hills by 402 pins, and Centralia by 448 pins. We still bowl in 2A because there's not 1A teams, and the fact that we're winning against 2A teams speaks a lot about our coach and our commitment. For FFA, we are having a holiday movie night next week where we're having a recreational activity for member engagement. We'll also be deciding a winter ball theme at that time. For drama, they're having rehearsals for another performance of Rebecca again, starting in a month for a community event at Sweet Hall on February 22nd. Skills USA still diligently studying, practicing for regionals anytime that they can. FBLA is fundraising by doing concessions at basketball games and making banners for sports teams and senior athletes, and by selling Dippin' Dots at wrestling tournaments and basketball games. They went to FLC, the Fall Leadership Conference, where they went to multiple business workshops and engaged with lots of other students, and they have began efforts to open up a merch booth for the RHS. Choir and band, they have a Christmas concert tomorrow at 7 p.m. And at RHS, we're doing a door decorating contest. We voted today and the results will be shown by the end of the week. We're gonna have a Christmas Spirit Week next week, and also just started a new thing. So it's called a VIP fan couch at basketball games. A random student that is asked at the basketball game will get picked and have a seat on a handmade couch and have free soda and popcorn. Oh. That's all I got.
You got it.
Questions? The student?
Awesome. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Right. I guess time for our principal's report. If anyone has any questions, the questions? Right. Thank you again. Principal's report time.
All right, so we're gonna have Mr. Theonis come up and go first. Our principals tonight are looking at one of the school improvement plans or goals that they've established, and they're gonna tell you about the progress that they are making, working on that goal.
We're emphasizing goal 3. We've been doing a lot of work there. And so you can go to the next slide. One of the things that we've done, we've increased our PBIS, which is positive behavior intervention supports. Monthly, we're recognizing students in 2 areas. As you see here, November was designated as integrity because that's the I in pride. So September was P, October was R plus academics. And so there is a sample on the right. teachers recognize students, they submit it in. Then our leadership group builds the slide deck. And so we do this on a monthly level. So December nominations were just completed and probably be going up next week. And go ahead and go to the next slide. We also do a weekly recognition on Fridays at the end of our PLC. We have a list of all the students in the school, and every student that gets selected, we highlight their name. So we recognize every student will be recognized by the end of the first semester. So every student will be recognized at least twice this year by a teacher, and they can do it based on one of the letters in Pride or on academics. So if you see a student who was really struggling first quarter and all of a sudden in the last month, they've really turned it on and they're working hard, whatever you see, or you see positive attitude, or you see them being supportive, teachers kind of get to do that. This is a card actually written to me from one of the students. Somehow she absconded with a card and, and I got one. I wanted that for an example. And then I told her about it. She goes, "Oh, I have mine." So go ahead and go to the next slide. This is her card that one of the staff members wrote to her. And so every week these go out to the students. And it's, to be honest, it's really cool because I've had every kid that I've written a note for has come and sought me out and said thank you. And they appreciate being acknowledged and being seen. And that's a big connection that goes back to that goal 3 is that executive function, that sense of belonging, being a part of the school, knowing that you're valued. And so this is really important. We're going to continue to elevate this. Go ahead and go next slide. Miss Fagan, our art teacher, has been really awesome, and she's been doing all kinds of stuff in the hallway, but I saw this today and it kind of goes to where we want to be as a school is it's not just school and sports and activities and drama. It's how you're taking care of yourself. What do you do to make your life? What do you do when you need to take care of yourself? And there's 3 or 4 plaques or boards of this, but I didn't want to put them out there because I wanted you to see a good picture, so I only did one of them. So the kids in pottery have been making these, and they're up there, and so it's kind of a communication tool for kids to kind of walk by and see what are things you can do to kind of keep yourself engaged and happy. Go ahead and go next slide. This is something we started in August when the teachers came back. We knew we were going to go away from the Warrior Way and go back to Warrior Pride, which is what we had probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. And the staff kind of built a framework a little bit. And then we worked with our students for the first month of school, and they wrote those statements that go in. So we looked at the common areas in the classroom, and there's 3 or 4 other areas that we have, but the students built all of that up. And what's really cool about this is then we took this information and gave it to the marketing class with Ms. Severino, and they built 4 or 5 different posters for each one of these. And then the PBIS committee went through and said, "Oh, we like that one, we like that one." And then they printed them all up. So this is the work product is actually done by our marketing students. They built that, and they had a competition. I don't know what she did inside her room to make that work, but it was really cool to see them invested. So you can see what we did is, what does it look like to be positive? What does it look like to be respectful? And these are student statements. And so this is generated from our students. These are the things they see and they want our school to be. And so it's pretty important, and that kind of ties, all this ties back into being a part of our school and knowing how to do the right things and the ways to do it. And so we're trying to work on clarity with expectations so our students know what we want them to do. Go ahead and go to the next slide. This is where we're heading. The one with less words on it is we're going to start working on this for second semester. And the one with less words is what we're going to put up for students in the hallway. What teachers are looking at, this is actually the social emotional standards that we're working from. So these are state standards that we're building inside of our SIP plan to address the executive functioning. And so you can see there's the learning target, what the skills are, and how we're going to do that. And we're going to spend the rest of the year where we're going to be really focused on managing behavior, helping students, first direct on themselves. How do I navigate situations when I'm frustrated? What do I do when someone doesn't treat me the way I want? And then the second step is going to be, how do I treat others? How do I engage with other people? And that will really tie it all together. Go ahead and go next slide. So this kind of goes back. I went down to the Gear Up conference right at the end of October, and I went to a session with a guy, and we started doing, and Kaylin, I don't know what Kaylin thinks of it, but every day before we start school, we center ourselves and we do some deep breathing for about 2 or 3 minutes. And I've had kids say thank you. The other day I had a girl in the office that was really had an anxiety attack, and we sat down and just did some breathing together for 3 or 4 minutes, and you could just see her start to. So trying to teach them how to manage themselves and develop those skills of managing their bodies and recognizing situations. And go one more slide. And so this is where we're heading. These are the things we want our kids to be focused on. And we really strongly believe that we will see a significant difference when I come back in June, because we'll have our DESA results at that point, and I'll be able to share if we've seen the growth that we're striving for. I believe we will. Really excited to see where this takes us as a school and kind of lay the foundation for what we're going to do next year as well. I think that's it, isn't it? Oh, I forgot I put this in. So this goes back to when we were talking about clarity. These are things that we've implemented in the classroom for this, for our SIP goal for executive functioning. If our students see the same thing in every class, it reduces anxiety, stress. So we're trying to make sure that everybody does. And if you walk into a classroom, you'll see most of these things happening. And then you'll see the addition for second semester is doing behavioral agreements, kind of building an agreement on what our classroom should look like as we interact on a daily basis. And one more slide, if I remember correctly. And then these are the routines. This also ties back into SIP goals 1 and 2. With student structure talk, we're using the Frayer model with vocabulary. We've been working on reading comprehension. And then this one is something we didn't see a lot last year, but now we do see our teachers, for the most part, when you keep before the class ends, we're kind of tying it back. Here's where we started. How do you feel about where we are? And they're engaged until the bell. Most classes, they're rushing to get their stuff packed up so they can go to the next class because the teachers are really good about making sure they're checking in. And that's it in a nutshell.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Love what you're doing in the second semester. That sounds great. Does every teacher do it in each of their classrooms, or how are they getting information about stress management?
So what we're going to do, that will go through our advisory. It'll be on Thursdays. It's going to be tier 1 and tier 2 instruction. So on Thursdays, all the classes will do the tier 1. So we have lessons planned out for the whole spring, and we'll chunk them out to the teachers. So in the middle of January, we have a staff meeting. We're going to go through all the modules with them so that they can kind of see them, see what we expect them to do. And then we'll do another chunk just before we go out for spring break. And then we also have a tier 2. So those kids that are really struggling with some of this stuff, me and Ms. Brooks will handle one group. Then our counselors will each have a group. And we'll do tier 2 instruction with those kids during CSR on Tuesdays. Ms. Brooks and I are sharing because obviously one of us has to be available to go run around and do other stuff. And so I was like, we should do both. And I was like, maybe we shouldn't, because if something happens, then who's going to take care of those guys? So, but yeah, that's what we're going to do. Is that's going to be delivered through CSR, and it's also going to be woven inside of the other 6 periods of the day, because obviously if these are things that we're trying to do and incorporate, it naturally goes in with what we're doing instructionally wise.
Thank you.
Do you have enough data at this point to see if you're meeting your measured goal?
With DESA, do we do a winter DESA? We only do fall and spring, don't we? DESA is new to me, so I'm still learning, but that's where this data will come from, DESA. And so that will be a spring measurement. We are hitting our winter testing window for iReady for our freshmen next week. So we'll be looking at ELA data and math data to see where we're at and see how we're progressing, and how do we help our students set goals for the next third of the year so we can get them prepared for SBA for sophomores, and then the freshmen doing their spring growth. We want to make sure that we're getting a year's growth for everybody at least.
Feel like you're getting one of the measures, 20% decrease in student referrals or classroom disruptions. Are you seeing less of that?
To be honest, it's kind of hard. Cumulative.
Yeah.
It is we're trying to figure out how to get notifications properly. And so I would say we've had an increase in some upper behaviors, but for regular behavioral, but like the stuff that we're talking about, I would say it's hard to know, because we aren't seeing that, we aren't getting the notifications well enough. And so we're kind of having to figure out how to navigate back into cumulative and go find those referrals when they're popping up. But I'm feeling positive we'll get there.
I love it. I like the pottery stuff in the case and artistic talents, you know, and it helps calm along with the meditation and I really like what I'm seeing here. Wonderful. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think you're heading to
Yep,
another.
off to the gym.
Right?
Middle school game, now the high school game. We got them all.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yep, thank you.
Oh, I thought we might be going backwards, but we're going back. All right, that's me. And mine connects a lot with Mr. Theotis, to be honest with you. So a lot of the similarities, even though he's the other end of our system. So SIP goals. I am going to talk to you about our goal number 3, which is around behavior. And so we were wanting to work on decreasing the number of referrals for students not being safe by 50% as measured by incidents reported in Q. So right now, at this time last year in December of, oh, I did these numbers backwards.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm not gonna get the prize. Okay, so December of 2024 is you should transpose those. I'm so sorry. Oh, so embarrassing. But we had last year at this time, 272 incidents of students not being safe at this point in the year. And you can, well, I don't know if I have the same. We have substantially less this year. So, and I'm wondering if I even put the numbers in there wrong. This isn't. I want to look at this for a second. Hold on. It's the total number. These, I don't have these in here correct.
The total didn't get fixed.
Yes, that's okay.
Just
We
to let them
have
not be.
substantially less number of at this point in the year, and it was a really big number. But one of the things we're considering is Q has been a learning curve for our staff. So we know we missed some referrals at the beginning of the year as we've been learning, as you've heard Kevin say, how to manage getting our referrals into the system. The other piece is we really worked on our leveled behavior menu, and the leveled behavior menu is helping us with which behaviors are getting a referral that would qualify for an offense that would be put into cumulative. So there are, but outside of that, there are significantly less. And I know it's because of a lot of the work we're doing around behavior in our building. So I wanted to talk about that. You could go to the next slide because that one I'm frustrated with. I'll fix it. But we, within our SIP plan, one of our goals was ensuring the instruction of tier 1 essential behaviors and cell skills at our school. And then developing and implementing a process for measuring student growth within those. So we've done a lot within the social emotional learning category with updates to our scope and sequence and how we're measuring student progress in this with identifying some essential behaviors. So if you go to the next slide, this is basically our timeline of how we've progressed from the spring of 2024 all the way through to December of 2024. So we've done work identifying the essential behaviors that we want our students to be mindful of within being safe, respectful, and responsible, which is the warrior way for us at RPS. We created a formative assessment in June of 2024 around one of those essential behaviors, which you'll see connects with Kevin's. It's managing our bodies. So how are we doing at RPS with managing our bodies? And our teachers are giving those formative assessments across our year to see if we're improving after first tier 1 instruction and then reteaching and potentially some tier 2 for kids who need it. We established the scope and sequence before school started of how we were going to teach those essential behaviors. We've developed a schedule for explicit instruction and reteaching of those. We've adjusted our leveled behavior menu. We've given a first assessment. So you can see, I just wanted you to get the idea that a lot of work has gone into where we are now, which I was just telling Kelsey, we had dinner before we came. The last 2 weeks at our school, it just feels very good. Our kids are really responding well to a few of the other things that are happening, which I'll get to in just a minute, but you can get to the next slide. So our first initial assessment for how students are doing with managing their bodies was completed by teachers using our proficiency scale around what does it mean to have a managed body, a proficiently managed body in our building. How are you being safe, respectful, and responsible in that way? When kindergarten was evaluated, the level 3 and the level 4 are students who are meeting that standard. The level 1s and the level 2s, you can see in the blues, those are students that are working towards meeting that standard. And that went across our system in kinder first and then to second grade. We had more students at second grade who were meeting the standard of managing their bodies, which makes sense to us. They've had a longer time to be in our system. But this was our initial assessment. Our goal by the end of this year is that 80% plus of kids at each grade level will be meeting the I Can Manage My Body standard. But it is hard to get into the data piece when you're talking about behavior outside of referrals, which I messed up. But we're trying to get more check-ins throughout the year on how the instructional piece is doing and how our students are responding to the instruction. So the next one, so this is a lot of the work that's being done within our foundations team. So Nicole Kernett runs that team for our building. She is our assistant principal, and she's putting together communications to our staff that's focused on the one essential behavior of managing our bodies. So you can see the total percentages in the bottom left in October of how many students that were proficient or higher in being able to do that. Oftentimes we get consumed with the things that aren't going well, but when we presented this to our staff, a lot of our kids are doing what they need to be doing, and that is pretty awesome. We know we have more work to do, but this was actually affirming for some of the work that we've been doing. She always communicates to our staff what's our next role and how we're doing this work with our kiddos. And we talk about the data, as you can see at the bottom. What do we notice? What do we wonder in front of our staff? We're constantly talking about how students are displaying the essential behaviors across our campus. In the top left, you can see our Kachi Bean Fantastics have even been modified for some, in this instance, for students who were managing their body. And we did some very focused, everybody had 20 to give out in that week, looking for that specific skill, just reinforcing the students who are doing it the right way. And then the next slide, the kids after our, so we did our initial instruction of managing our bodies, the week leading up till Thanksgiving, we did a reteach of that essential standard. And then the students got to celebrate at recess with knowing that managing our body is a big deal at our school. They had these big posters out on the playground, and the kids were coloring their own posters, and awesome music was playing, and they got a sticker because they can manage their bodies. And now they're hanging up in the schools, so the kids get to see that our school's for them and they're a part of our community and our campus. And we've done a few recess activities like this, and they've been pretty awesome. And again, Nicole Kernett and Sarah Gerber-Kai running a lot of this work out on the playgrounds with our students. So the kids know what we're focused on. It's not hidden from them. And they can tell you how to manage your body at our school. If you go to the next one, there's another collage, and then sharing these with our community, getting that positive press, getting the positive out there about what's going on at RPS. So those were kids celebrating. And you can go to the next one. So one of the things we instituted, we know coming up to Christmas time or winter break, routines change for kids. It's one of the hardest times for teachers in the classroom. A lot of behaviors pop up. So we decided, well, let's set up some type of a reward system that's honoring those kids that are doing those things of being safe, respectful, and responsible and managing their bodies at our school. So we're having a glow party December 19th at RPS at 2:45. If you'd like to come with your hat, Mr. Turner, you will fit right in. Make sure it has batteries. And kids that are attending are kids that, according to our cumulative system, have referrals for level 2 behaviors. If you've had 3 level 2 behavior referrals, you are going to spend some time doing some learning about expectations. If you've had a level 3, you're going to have some time to learn about expectations. But for students who are meeting standard, we're going to reward or celebrate with this glow party. And what's happening is the kids don't want to not come. So the behavior in the building is amazing. And Mrs. Kernet, bottom left, Miss Gerber Kai is hidden among the children. You can't see her there, top right. I can't thank these two enough for the work that they're doing on this. They're taking in what they're learning from the behavior solutions training that they went to, and they're jumping in and applying it. And this celebration that the kids are gonna have, they're promoting it. DJ Kernet has an app on her phone to make music and has a chain and some speakers. I mean, and she's got this place she's gonna cordon off for break dancing because it was in the Olympics. So kids are always trying to do it all the time. So it's gonna be fun and the kids wanna be there. So it's just having a really good impact. But I wanted to share with you some of those things around social emotional learning, because they're not always the things that we focus on, with academics being important, very important. But I want to take the time to honor these two because could not do the job without them. And Zoe's up there. Oh, Brittany's not here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you see Parker?
She does have a glow stick.
Okay.
Skirt ready to go.
Good.
Yes.
I got a cake. I gotta go. But we're pretty excited. So that is our PS. Yes.
I'm not sure I understood this last part, because it
Yep.
sounds like it's maybe a fun time anyway,
Mhm.
but there are gonna be children that
Do
don't
not
know
attend.
because of their behavior.
Yes. But that has been communicated to families. We have been completely transparent. They know how we get admission to the party, but it's part of that positive behavior supports for students, because what we're hearing is we're doing a lot of things for kids that have behavioral needs with, I played video games with 2 different kids today because they earned their points. Not all kids get access to that, but the kids who really need it are getting some supports there. But for the kids that are doing it right every single day,
Yeah.
and they're always modeling those expectations, they need a reward. They need a prize too. But we've been very clear about, yes, about how you earn admission. Mhm.
And do we think that the kids that won't be going, is it
Mhm.
like less than 5% or something? Or do you-
Right now, it's 1 student. Can you imagine? 1
Wow.
student, the whole month right now.
Wow.
One kiddo. And it will be a meaningful experience
For the one kid.
for the one kiddo. And I think what it will have on the other end of that is I'm gonna do my job at school because I wanna go to the next bigger,
Yeah. Okay,
right?
All right.
I'm hopeful.
I'm glad you said one.
Yeah. I was nervous too, but but it's going really well. Mhm. Any other questions? I'm gonna fix my data slide, and I'll get it back to you. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Nice job. I mean, are you ready? Just kidding.
Yeah. I can read lines.
I have Francie Ischler here tonight. She is one of our administrative interns in the district, so just throwing her come up. So I have our 3 goals up here. Our first goal being ELA proficiency increasing. The second one is our multilingual students and their math increasing. And then the third one is attendance regularly, students regularly attending. But I am going to focus on goal number 2 and our multilingual students and increasing their proficiency in math. And how we decided on what our professional development was going to be this year was decided back in August. We had our 3 SIPLs. Teacher said what they needed in order to help get those students to meet those goals. And one of them was how we can help our students, our multilingual students, know and access their math. And so we really focused on leaning into our multilingual teachers, both Alejandro Gutierrez and Candace Robinson, and our district math coach, Carrie Black. And together, those 3 have been able to provide our staff with some amazing PD. We have another one this next Monday where they're going to be providing more opportunities to help our staff with math strategies for our multilingual learners. One thing that it was amazing, Maggie, I think you were there during that. They got taught an entire math lesson in Spanish. And so it built their understanding of what our multilingual learners who don't have much English what they might be going through in a classroom that is predominantly English speaking. And so they got to they were practicing their Spanish and figuring out what was maybe being said. And that the first time around was with no visuals. And so they just had verbal and try to figure it out. And then they added in strategies like having visuals up and showing how that helps. And then they provided some strategies with a little bit of English. And so just showing how lessons can be scaffolded for all students is what they got to experience. And they were so engaged in that lesson, and it was just fun to see them. And I have a picture of it in just a little bit. So here it is. So this is Mr. Gutierrez, and the first one, can't see it, it's not as close, maybe in that bottom picture, but what is up on that board right there is all Spanish. Little bit of pictures. And then he comes over to this visual over on the right, and he's drawing a plate of cookies, and it was a fraction, and they were being able to figure out what was being asked by having that access with those visuals. So in addition to the professional development that they are providing and they're getting, one of the other tasks that our multilingual teachers are doing is making the core content of lessons accessible to all students. So this is right from our math curriculum. And this is what would be up on a board for students. And up top is a little speaker. And this teacher would go through, read it to the students, ask these questions, but then would also play with a little button.
Aquí tenemos unas imágenes de unas crackers, de unas galletas. ¿Cómo podemos ver las galletas en la imagen A? Están en la imagen B. B. ¿Cómo son diferentes? C. ¿Cuántas galletas hay en cada imagen? Y D. Escribe una expresión que represente las galletas en cada imagen.
So by having that in Spanish, it has made it accessible to all of our students. Students that can read and hear English, they have it. Students that can, not necessarily, we could improve it by having Spanish on there as well, but being able to verbally hear it, they're getting access that way as well. And one teacher actually said to me, it's a confidence builder. Those students that maybe didn't have this type of access, they are now, because this is for everyone, this is right in the middle of every lesson. And students that don't know Spanish are asking their peers, what did that say? And they can confidently tell them what was said. So just building that relationship. And not only, the next slide I have is, even though we talked about our multilingual and math being our SIT goal number 2, our SIT goal number 1 is our English proficiency building for all students. And so in addition, this is also another way that our multilingual learners can access vocabulary in their ELA lessons. So this is from our ELA curriculum, and the vocabulary word is mechanism. So they have, you don't have to play the video, but just the, yeah.
that part.
Mecanismo. Una parte de una máquina.
So just making, again, accessible for all students. And what's nice about our district and having the dual program, just making it so universal and just getting that, having it being a part of their learning and just an everyday experience. So.
Awesome. Along with that.
Yeah, don't play that one. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that is my celebration, is that the work that's being done for, because what's good for multilingual students is good for every student. So, yeah.
Members, any
It's
questions?
very innovative. It's really, really cool.
Thank you.
Excited to see
Thank you.
what the
Yeah, and
Improvement looks like at the end of the year.
it says that our we'll be able to gauge the growth at the end of the year with our SBA. But we'll be doing iReady testing, benchmark assessments in January, and we'll have a gauge of how it's working. So
So is this isn't just for a short.
no, this is all year,
It's gonna be all year long.
Mhm. all year, every lesson.
Very cool. Love the engagement.
Thank you. Yes.
I love the engagement, and I can see this really paying off for improved grades and, you know, school attendance.
Yes.
Be here to be part of it.
That's right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody. I also have an intern that's here, Megan Baker, who's an intern at my school. And you need to know that an hour and a half ago, she came into my office. I let her know, I asked her if she was ready to do this presentation, and that I had sent it to her earlier, and I figured she'd reviewed it by now. Was wondering if she wanted to just kind of go over it before she had to get up here. And the fun part of all that was, I actually think in reality, when all is said and done, she could probably do a better job of this presentation that I created than I did, or when all is said and done. So we had an opportunity to talk celebration. We had an opportunity to talk explanation, that sort of thing. And I'm going to do more of an explanation thing for you, because we're doing something relatively radical at the middle school, significantly different than we've done in the past. And I wanted to make sure that you guys had a little bit more of an in-depth of like, okay, exactly what are they doing? What does this look like? So we're going to kind of walk through a little bit of that. And the focus for this is actually on two of the goals. Goal one with our ELL students improving in reading, and goal two with our students who are struggling in math, improving in math. And so we are radically changing. You can change that. We're doing a trial balloon. So as you see on the left, hot air balloons. So this is a trial balloon. And what we're hoping for is something like young Miss Gornishenko got there on the right. And that is, the balloon has gone so high and so far, it has literally disappeared. She launched the farthest balloon that I've seen in all of my years at the middle school. It is straight above that tree that's sticking up that she's kind of pointing at, but I couldn't see it in the picture. I could see it in real life, just barely, but not in the picture. So we're hoping that it kind of ends up like that as we launch our trial balloons. But the reality of it is, this is a trial. This is not something that we're jumping into going, this is going to be amazing. You will all just be amazed and it will just be awesome. We're looking at that. We think this has the potential to improve our school, but we're not 100% confident that this is exactly the way to go. And we know that in the process, we're going to have to do some tweaks, and there's going to be a big learning curve, because this is going to be radically different for all of our folks. And what I love about the middle school and this district in general is we're willing to make changes and do things that are different. And even though that can be uncomfortable at times, we're still willing to do it. So next one. So this is what happens right now with our intervention system, our system of supports to try to help our students. Teachers have identified essential standards. So they did that years ago. They actually redid it and kind of adjusted it the following year. But this is something that we've been working on, as you guys know, in our process for a long period of time. They're creating unit plans and lesson plans that are based on those essential standards. And when we say something is essential, we're saying that it is so important. It's not important, it's essential. It's so essential that we are willing to stop what we're doing to help our kids to reach the goal in those areas. So the teachers are creating those unit plans, and within those unit plans are something called common formative assessments. Both math teachers at the 6th grade will do an assessment that is the same. Both language arts teachers at the 8th grade will do an assessment that is the same. And they will look at their kids, and the assessment is based on one or more of those essential standards specifically. And they will look at how are the kids doing on those essential standards. Based on that information, they will do an in-class intervention soon after, usually a day or two. We call that tier 2 intervention. Those are on grade level things. That's not, I'm trying to teach 8th graders how to multiply, basic instruction. That'd be tier 3. These are grade level things. And hey, you just need a little extra help. And so we're going to work with a group of our kids. Go ahead and flip that. After that, We might determine who needs more intervention. So you can see on this, the example is November 22nd, we've determined who needs more intervention during the month of December. The peers of teachers are meeting to determine intervention priority. Kids are going to be in this class in enrichment. In the month of December, they're going to have approximately 10 lessons on this intervention area if they need intervention. And so that can be math, that could be reading, could be a writing skill, any of those kinds of things. But what do you need more of? Do we kind of need math more? Do we kind of need reading more? And so the teachers get together and go, okay, you had so-and-so last time, I need them this time. Or no, they really need this skill. That skill they need a little bit, this skill they really need, and we really need more time with them. So they kind of get together and they figure that out. We create a list. So a few days later, that list is created for all of our students where they're going to be during their first period intervention class or enrichment class. That list gets triaged because unfortunately, the math doesn't always math for us. We don't have 50 teachers ready to go and split kids up into groups of 8. Unfortunately, we're stuck with kind of things that, the groups kind of have to be in the mid-20s to low 30s, or they're not going to work in terms of, I can't have 3 groups of 20 when I only have 2 teachers. So sometimes we have to triage those down and figure out, again, who needs this the most? Who can we help the most right now? So the list gets triaged, and less than a week later, the kids go to intervention. So the process takes about 10 days or so right now. It's a little bit cumbersome, but within 10 days, we've taken a look at kids. We've tried to help those kids within the classroom. We've made a determination for those that maybe need some extra help beyond the class period or 20 minutes. And we've gotten those kids an intervention. In the past, we rotated kids every 9 weeks to every 18 weeks. So it wasn't 10 days after we figured this out, you're in a spot, and we'd love to get that number down. Right now, it's about 10 days. We're only in our 3rd little session right now. This was the 2nd time that we went through the process. But it's not, hey, 2 months from now, I can get you an intervention math class. 3 months from now, I can get you an intervention reading class. No, it's happening in less than 2 weeks. They're in that class, they're getting some help. So that's what's happening right now. Now, what you also need to know is, we're talking briefly now about intervention, but we also have kids that need some extension. We've got some kids that, you're showing that you really could take off in this area. And we've moved kids into some of those classes. And so that's been also kind of fun. We've got some kids that have demonstrated in an intervention that they've picked it up. They've demonstrated in their regular class that they've picked up that skill. And so we put them in a different kind of enrichment class that's not an intervention-based class. It's a different enrichment class. And so we're trying to meet kids in various places based on where they are in this area. Flip it, please. Fun things, celebration. I've got teachers fighting over kids. No, I need this kid more than you do. No, I need this kid. No, okay, well, you had him last time, but okay, you can take them this time, but if they still need help in this area, when January comes around, I get them, right? I get them. Okay. And so that's been kind of fun. So that's actually been, it's very interesting and fun for me. Kids get more than one intervention in a quarter. So instead of one class for 9 weeks, okay, we're going to get math intervention for the next 9 weeks. You could get math for 3 weeks and then get a reading intervention and then be back in math, or a math and then 2 readings, or a math intervention and then you're back in the other class that you'd actually prefer to be in. We've had kids moving out of leadership because they needed a certain intervention in an area. And then they work really hard. You can see the 3rd one there. Kids are learning that performance determines their assignment. And so even a kid who might be a high cap student in a certain area, struggling in another area, and it's like, let's get you the help. And then back you go. And so they're only out for 3 weeks and they're back. And so that's been kind of fun to see how kids have reacted to that, to see how teachers have reacted to that. It's fun. The but side of it, but kids don't get as in-depth of an intervention in one area. So we're, over that 9 weeks, it's likely that they may not be in a math class for 9 weeks or 18 weeks because they're moving from one to the other. So there is a little bit of a downside to it in certain areas. Grades for first period are a challenge. Cumulative is not set up for this. And so you might be assigned to my class, and November, December, and January is actually where you are, but I'm the one that gives you a grade. So you have to give me your grades once a month. You have to give me your grades at the end of the month. You have to give me your grades at the end of the month. In my grade book, it just lists the grade, not the actual assignments. So for a parent or a student to go, okay, what was that assignment again? They have to go back to that previous teacher. There's a little bit of a challenge there. I need to be honest with you. And I've told this to a bunch of people, so I'll say it now in front of the school board. I care a lot less about grades and how parents are tracking grades than I do about those kids improving their skills. I want them to improve their skills. I'd love to be able to fix this other part, but if I can fix the whole, hey, you can totally figure out your grades, or I can fix we can get you skills, I'm going with skills. So, and that's where we are right now. As you could see with all of the list, and I could probably talk about this for another hour, it's a lot of work. It is a big change. It is a big challenge, and it's a lot of work. One of the things that I've told the staff is, while we're doing some tweaks and fixes right now, I don't want to have an in-depth conversation about what you really like and what you really hate until January. I want to have gone through 3 cycles, and then I want to have that discussion. That's my time.
Quite innovative.
We talked about this at the beginning of the year.
I know, but I didn't go like this.
No, it's fun to see it come about and what you're learning and how it's working.
How does this impact communication with parents, parent-teacher conference? If I'm a student that's multiple interventions?
So parent-teacher conference, like if you're talking about like fall conferences and spring conferences, I have no idea. And here's why I'm going to say that. We had fall conferences prior to this actually starting.
Fair enough, yeah.
And what I have communicated, and I need to over communicate more to families about what's happening. And that was one of the things that I noticed first when we first did this in the last, we started this after conferences. So we could talk to parents a little bit about what would happen, but none of us had experienced it yet. So we were, yeah, this is what we think is going to happen. We need to over communicate about the things like the grades. We need to over communicate about that your kid can move around. We need to because kids are used to, families are used to, you put my kid in a math intervention, they never get out of that, right? I mean, once you get into math intervention, you're like 90%, you're there the rest of the year, you're done. And no, that's not the case at all. So, yeah.
I wonder about sorry, Neil, you have something.
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I wonder about, because I think this is great. This is awesome. You get things done. The term intervention, I guess maybe it's for everything. For you guys as well. Is the connotation?
The negative stigma of
Yeah.
the word intervention?
Yeah, enrichment sounds good, right?
Yes, it does.
Are there other terms folks use other than intervention, or is it really?
We refer to classes enrichment.
Oh, okay.
And enrichment might be enrichment, extension, intervention for whatever period of time, but the class is enrichment.
They're all enrichment?
The class is enrichment.
Okay.
You look at the grade thing,
Yeah.
the grades all come up as enrichment.
Okay, okay. Yeah, just kind of when you kept saying that, I wonder if they're getting.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Feels negative or something. That's great.
Any other questions?
Nothing really for me. It's simply we're pushing forward and we're going to make things work.
We hope so. And it could very well be that the system that we've been using, which was relatively successful, ends up being overall better than this overall. That's possible. I'm not ready to say that that's impossible. It is possible. We're going to have to study this. Kevin talked about iReady, and we do our mid-year iReady starting next week. And then the spring iReady in April. So, you know, there's a process. We're, you know, trying to get that standardized kind of data to see where we're at. We'll see. We'll see.
It seemed like the parents would appreciate it, knowing that the kids are getting responded to in a more swift manner. So.
It seems like it'd be opportunity to be more engaged, where they need help too. Maybe students have a better understanding of
Oh, yeah.
where I need to work.
Yeah,
absolutely. And around specific areas. It's not language arts. It's writing an essay. It's, you know, writing a conclusion. It's theme. It's around certain areas.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Neil, the hat, awesome. Tuesday, Winterfest at the middle school from 6 to 7:30. You do a little face painting to go along with that. We got lots of stuff. We're ready. You play a bunch of games, candy canes, cocoa. It's free, everybody.
Tuesday?
Tuesday. 6 to 7:30.
Follow up with a Thursday concert at CVS, followed by a glow party. Your holiday.
We got your festive week planned out.
If that's price per wear, he's down to 5 cents.
You know, it seems that I have some automotive parts that have been delayed and no one seems to be able to figure out where they are except for I ordered them last month. And I can't finish what I'm working on my other project. So there is a possibility I may be able to attend a few of these functions.
Oh, there you go.
I can't go forward. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Awesome. Okay, next we are on to our business report. And we have a teacher any longer, or should I dismiss them if they would like?
You.
Teachers, would you all like to, or excuse me,
Oh, I'm.
principals and leaders of our school, would you like to leave and, because you guys gotta be to work early. And keep putting. You don't know me. Oh, Tristan, do you have anything to add? Student report.
Yeah, if you'd like me to, I'm sorry, I was about the time.
Okay.
I just forgot, but, our ASB class has gotten a lot better since, Miss Baird and Miss Kincaid took over, and they've improved everything quite a bit, and like, I think Kaylin probably thinks the same, we're a lot better off than we used to be in ASB. Like the school, we're improving it, like at the basketball games, last year there might have been like 15 kids there. And this year I've been seeing there's close to 45 at like every game, even, yeah, boys and girls. So it's pretty nice to see that. And also, I know you guys all had somewhat of a say, or at least know, hiring us, Mr. Sells as our head coach. That was, I mean, at first I was kind of upset, like all of us on the team, because us seniors, we've had 4 different basketball coaches since we started playing high school basketball, and it's kind of like, all right, where's our guy at? But then, yeah, he stepped in, and I mean, we haven't won a game yet. I mean, but we're getting better every single game, and kids want to be there this year. So I do appreciate him getting hired. I mean, yeah, at first we didn't see it that way, but yeah, we'll start winning here soon, hopefully.
Last night was close.
Yeah, and then, last thing, the sports medicine class, Miss Sullivan. So I'm in her 2nd year class. She's a really cool, good person, and we were all at the wrestling tournament. It was a long day. We got there like 8:30, and I mean, we didn't leave till 9. But it was really fun. We learned a lot. She's a really good teacher, and yeah, I don't know, the bloody noses, a couple kids got shoulders dislocated. One kid got knocked out, but I mean, it's a really cool class. It's a really cool class to be in if that's somewhere you want to go, it's like, it's not cool stuff like that happens to kids, but it's cool to learn from it. in my opinion. So, yeah,
Practice.
that's about all that I have, but yeah.
Wonderful. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I know you may leave a few.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Right.
Following the kids.
We slid in a little while ago. I
Okay.
can't say now, it's like we were giving the principal report. So I'm like, well, we'll give them a minute.
Yep. We're good. So,
Awesome.
our December FTE count was 2,046 students with a head count of 2,106. Running Start, we have 75 students participating in Running Start and 39 are Running Start only. Part started December with 33.5 FTE. Our sped count went up slightly to 358 and we were able to count 8 students in the dropout re-engagement program. So we were able to capture a few more.
Nice.
And then just a visual of the trend of where we are. It's the red line with the green arrow pointing to it. So we were right on track with where we were last year. Budget status for October, at the end of October, the fiscal year, 16.67% of the year complete. Our revenues are at 18.77%, which is normal because we got a lump payment of the levy money, which only comes twice a year. And then our expenditures are right on track at 16.4%. For all of our funds, ending fund balance in October, which is always our highest fund balance point of the year when you look historically at fund balance trends. Our general funds at 4.7 million, capital projects at 3.5, debt service at 816,000, ASB at 624,000, and transportation vehicle at 250,000. And I will add, you all have access to our year-end financial statements. It's the F-196 report in there. The first, starting on page 2, you get your traditional balance sheet and statement of revenues and expenditures and changes in fund balance. So you can see how we ended the year. We had talked about earlier, we were going to end the year with a higher fund balance. When you get late notice grants, you have to have a lot of maximizing and moving things around. And all of our directors busily got lots of grants towards the end of the year. So I gotta spend a couple months moving things around so we could claim that revenue. So we're in a better place than we had planned, which is great. There's still some room for improvement. But right now, I think this is real work. I don't think we have to take a loan out like we did last year.
No loans.
No.
We need to have our own rainy day fund.
Yep.
So we need, what is that percentage that we should be at? Is it like 8%?
Our current board policy says 5 to 8%. That has been there for 10+ years, and 8% no longer covers a month's payroll. So we might want to start thinking about if those are still good numbers or we want to revise that policy.
Maybe we should be having like 10%. We
Something to discuss.
that's something that probably for a workshop meeting or something that we can go over. Because it's important that we have some reserve on hand. We can't just keep giving all the money out on a monthly basis. We need to,
Yep.
You know, I mean, I'm thank goodness we don't have a $30 million problem or a $100 million problem. And, you know, we're very fortunate that we are, we have you and we've been writing this really close, but we really need to get, you know, some funds in our reserve for our rainy day. Because eventually we're going to see a bus or some vehicle. I know we are. All right. Any other questions, board members?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, if I understand correctly, there was some decisions about some logging revenue that may be coming our way. Have you got anything official on that yet, or?
I think Jennifer's could probably provide a better.
Yeah,
update on that.
Both in November and in December, it was voted on by the DNR board that they would be logging the areas that we will gain some revenue from. I think the December one was, no, the November one was 400,000 and the December one was a little less than that projected.
Yeah.
And we have received just a little bit of timber funds in July.
We received a little bit in July and a little over 100,000 in August.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
we
then
are
these
starting to
decisions are
see.
probably gonna be for like the next school year or something.
Yeah, 6 months.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, good news.
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm learning about that process with the trees. I'm now part of my WASDA. I got involved with WASDA finally. And I'm part of that group that understands the timber sales. What is that word? The lands. Yeah.
DNR?
Yeah, the DNR land policies where we get our trees.
Yep.
You know, the last couple of years, I thought it was just me. And then I got to meet all these people and realized that this is a problem that's happening up and down I-5 from Portland to Vancouver, BC.
These second ones too.
Yeah, everybody in these rural districts is had the same type of issues that we've had with this legacy tree situation. So I'm learning and I just sit there and I just listen and learn. So there's so much volume of information to take in. But the grant lands, the lands that they're using, these have been since the state constitution in 1889, I believe. And they've been in there since then. So this is like something that's not like recently new. It was added. This is something, these lands have been, we're supporting the schools and fire departments forever.
Yep.
Since the state was put as a state. All right. Enough out of me running on. Next, superintendent report.
All right. So just a few things tonight. First thing is today we were out at Grand Mound Elementary School and meaning it was Laura and Maggie and Justin and I, we had the opportunity just to get out there for a few minutes and get into classrooms. And every time we're out in our classrooms, it just reminds me and I think all of us about the great work that's taking place. You heard about the work from our principals, the intentionality around how teachers are working to learn about how to work with their kids and then how they're employing different practices to make sure we're reaching all of our kids. And we saw that today. Probably my favorite part of the visit today was being in a math classroom and watching a teacher work with kids and talk about the different ways they could solve a problem and how did you solve it and how did you, each of the different kids had different ways. And then he presented one way that nobody had thought of yet. And the kids were like, oh yeah. And it just is really good to see that we're getting our kids to think and talk to each other and it's making a difference for what's happening in our classrooms. So I just want to applaud that. Next, just a little bit about the UGA. They had another work session. The commissioners had a work session on the UGA and the updating of the two areas in Grand Mound. Specifically, the one that will impact the school district is the Wilmot Bosque. Anybody know how to say that? Okay. It's the 29 acres and there's another picture coming up. That, yeah, it'll come up soon, yeah, but it's moving it to a higher residential area that will make a difference or could potentially make a difference in the number of students we have or the number of houses that we have in our district, which ultimately could result in more students. You can see going from a ratio of 1 to 5, one house to 5 acres to a ratio of 4 to 16 units to 1 acre. So a much different area. On the next slide, you can see that this says this is a change of the zoning area. They specifically are saying that it does not, that when the property will be zoned, but if somebody wants to build in there, they still need to go in there and get the permits and, do all the utilities, and then they'll have to pay the impact fees, which you'll see in a minute. As a response to the questions, they're saying that the impact fees are gonna take care of the increased costs for schools, which our impact fees do not pay for a new school or even a portable, barely a portable. So the next one, this is the land that they're talking about. It's between 201st and T Street and I don't remember what the other one is on the south side. But that is where it is. They are at a point now where they're going to be voting on it on December 17th. So this is moving forward pretty quickly.
Jennifer, it's one owner. Is that true or not?
It is one owner right now. Yep. And so I don't know if the owner is going to be the one that would want to develop it or if they will sell it to somebody else who would develop it.
Okay, but they're pushing for this to happen.
They're
and-
pushing for
And then
this.
they would sell it for an increase.
Probably, yeah. Mhm. The biggest thing that I'm hearing from the commissioners are that Grand Mound needs, in their master plan for Grand Mound, we need more low-income housing in Grand Mound. And so this would be a space that would be considered the 0 to 80% AMI housing, which is lower income housing. That is housing that is, people, the housing provides space for people who are making 80% or less of what the average income in the area is. So, and just the smaller parcels and the more units is gonna be lower income housing. So that's what they're doing it, and that's part of the master plan from Grand Mound, and they're saying they don't have any other space to put it, and so this makes sense to put it in there because that's part of the plan.
Grand Mound,
In Grand Mound. Grand Mound has a master plan for Grand Mound to be developed. Mhm.
That 4 to 16 is, so it's likely duplexes and
Plexes, maybe quads.
Up to 464 apartments at 29 acres.
Could be. Mhm. Yeah. So I'm still talking to the commissioners. I don't know which way it'll go at this point. I think there's one that's not sure how she's gonna vote, but I think, and maybe two. I don't know about the other three. I think they're moving forward. This is part of the Grand Mound plan and they see it as part of the Grand Mound plan.
yeah, it sounds like we should probably have a conversation with them.
Is that, like I said, 17th is when it looks like it's gonna be on the agenda to vote, so. I don't see the agenda yet, but it does, that sounds like I wasn't able to be right up to the end of the meeting. But that's what they were looking at an agenda item for 17th.
Some social media stuff out today about it. The theme of it's probably gonna be.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
we need early education stuff. There really needs to be some more development that takes place in the Grand Mound area. You know, and it definitely will affect our school and our schooling and whether or not we have the ability to bring it to 400 units. Is that what?
Could be up to 400.
About
Yes.
400.
Yeah, so
Yeah, the
400
next-
units, 3 kids per family.
Yeah, we don't have 3 kids per family,
Well,
but yeah.
low income, you know,
The
neighborhood.
next slide is actually where they summarize the public comments that have come in.
There we go.
And so school impacts was a major one, but you can see there that their response, the staff response was that the impact fees would be there to take care of that. There was a question about parks.
We have 0 parks, so that's our
Mhm.
parking lot.
Yeah,
Nothing down here.
but that was interesting that their school impacts was top on the list there, but it was still,
Hmm.
the answer was our impact fees.
Does that mean we've got to raise them? To make it more accessible for
You know,
schooling?
we can't,
We can't justify building a new school.
we're not gonna be able to charge individual new homeowners enough to build
Yeah,
a new
it's
school.
not gonna make a
That's
difference.
not gonna be the way to go about it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the area is gonna continue to grow
Yep,
and to change the 5-acre parcel things that had been in place, the pocket gopher. That's part of how this is becoming
I
part of
think
our community.
we need to remember, we know that the growth is coming, that's part of, we're seeing it slowly, and this is, now they're trying to do the managed growth in the Ground Mound area, and so this is part of that, but they are moving land from the UGA to a non-UGA area, so,
Interesting.
yeah,
Do they have
that's what I
any,
know about that at this point.
do they have any ideas, use in the zoning? They're making these changes. Do they have any ideas where we're supposed to build new schools?
We need to purchase land and.
So it's up to us to
that's
figure it all
that's
out
ours. Mhm.
and pay the impact fees and all that too.
But we don't pay impact fees.
We
for
don't?
that, no.
Oh, bonus. Yes.
not school impact fees. There are Thurston County impact fees, which I don't think we pay.
I know we pay.
Yes.
I know
Yeah,
we pay
roles,
for permits.
schools, yes,
We pay taxes.
yes, we have to pay that.
We pay, I mean, I don't think most of the people in our community realize how many taxes the school districts pay.
Yep.
And in most communities, the school districts are the largest employer.
Mhm. That's very
And,
true.
and I really think that, I hope people may be watching this in the future. But this is something that, you know, honestly, it's like, we pay a lot of taxes.
Yep.
All
All
right,
right, so next up, we've got holiday assemblies. Our principals mentioned these. The middle school band concert was actually last week, but there is a high school concert tomorrow night. And then there's Winterfest next Tuesday, I think is the 17th. The 19th is Grand Mounds Holiday Concert at 2:15. And then I guess you could go to the blow party after that, or right at the same time, probably. And then on Friday is RPS's winter, not assembly, but winter choir sing-along. Good events if you want to go and start to feel festive. And just a real quick, Jill mentioned some of the grant applications, and we've got a team here that's just working so hard and making sure that we're accessing all the grants that are out there. The device maintenance and replacement, Justin just received that not too long ago. Justin, what did you get for that?
25.
And what did you spend it on?
Chromebooks, I ended up getting 79. That's what I got it stretched out to.
Yeah. And the digital navigation?
That will help offset costs for our RISE Center. Our two folks spend a ton of time teaching people how to use cumulative, teaching people how to sign up for services. There's a lot of digital stuff that they do. So we were able to write a grant to offset the costs for them and extend our money that we have budgeted for them out longer.
Yeah.
Into the next year.
Yes. And in addition to all the title grants that Maggie gets, which is thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, she also got a dual language grant, a continuation to continue the work that we're doing with the dual language program and make sure that those teachers are paid for some of the additional PD and time that it takes to implement a new program. There's a restraint and isolation program or grant that Laura has received. And you're gonna hear a little bit more about that in second semester. We're gonna have some teachers come in and explain the work that's being done there. There's an AED access grant that just was released and Justin's working on that one. That'll replace and purchase some new AED devices in our buildings. I believe it's up to $9,000, right? And so we're hoping to get all $9,000 there. Kevin Wilson's working on the Perkins grant, which helps us fund a lot of our CTE programs. And then we're looking at an indoor air quality assessment. Ed's looking at that to dig into that. It's a grant that's out there for districts that are under 3,000 students, so we do qualify for it. And we're just learning about that, but it could be a significant amount of money if we have an assessment done that determines we need some new HVAC system somewhere. And then the final one there is the Public Schools Opioid Recovery Trust that I'm working on. Working on actually partnering with Oakville on that, and it'll help us put systems and structures and training for staff, for community, for parents, for kids on opioid recovery and how to work with people who are and kids who are struggling from the impacts of opioid. Don't have it yet. It's due Saturday. So.
Said you're partnering with Oakville, is that what you said?
Yeah,
We don't
and the
have
tribe.
it yet. And
We don't-
it's due Saturday.
It's due Saturday. We're writing it.
Okay.
So we're hoping that from the applying. So from the AED access down, those grants are all being applied for now. We have not been granted those yet. The first 1, 2, 3, 4 we've received. So we continue to work on grants.
Wonderful.
And the final thing is our winter break start actually a week from Friday. We do have a board work session on the 8th of January, which is very quickly after we get back. So just kind of want to make sure you're aware of that. Board meeting in January is on the 22nd, and then our end of first semester is on the 23rd of January. It's just around the corner. Mhm. Next up is Maggie. Okay. And this will ultimately take a vote, but she's gonna give you a little presentation first.
That's the one to go.
Well, okay, so this is, I will say that there's not a whole lot of changes from our highly capable program from this to last year. I know that because these are the exact same slides that I did you last year, and I just changed the date. So that talks and speaks to the stability of the program, right? So there you go. But we are required every year to present our highly capable plan to the board for approval. Again, this is a state definition of what highly capable is. These are students who perform or show potential for performing significantly advanced academic levels as compared to peers of the same age, experience, environments. It does talk about how, you know, these abilities are not just with what we would say are typical students, but all in protected classes. So that is something that we had a conversation about at a state level, and that we have made adjustments, is that we really are working towards equitable identification for our highly capable students, which has then morphed us, probably starting from last year, you know, into really making sure that highly capable is a service and not a place where kids go. So we do that through qualifying for highly capable services. We can qualify two different ways. One, there's the old fashioned referral. Anybody in the community, in a school, a parent or themselves can refer themselves for highly capable. We do test twice a year. We do universal screening. So we screen all second graders and we screen all fifth graders for highly capable services. That's something that the legislature asked us to do a couple of years ago. So we did it. One data point does not get a kid into high cap, does not do that. It is a multitude of data points and reasons as far as what we do to make a decision. It is a multi-team decision. So there's about 5 of us on a team. We all have to agree. It's not one person gets to say yes or no. And Justin sits on the team with me, and he has heard me say more than one time, I'm just one vote. I just get one vote. And so once a student is entered into highly capable services, then we create a plan for them and decide, you know, what are the strengths and weaknesses of a student, and then how can we provide services that match their strengths. And that's what you'll see on the next slide, is very similar to what all of our principals talked to, which was a tiered approach. Thank you. And so there is kind of the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 services that we offer. So tier 1 is for all students and highly capable. They all get a service plan created in collaboration. There's differentiated instruction that, you know, that teachers are continuing to work in the basic ed, because highly capable is a basic ed program, and to continue to adapt and adjust to the content process of instruction. There are enrichment opportunities that supplement regular outside classrooms. Those are, again, most likely basic ed types of activities, the clubs that happen at the middle school and the high school level, some different types of things that all kids have access to, right? Tier 2 is a potential pull-out activities with a highly capable teacher that happens K-5. Identified for highly capable students are grouped based on the need for service and to provide activities to match their strengths. So it's not like, oh, I'm in high cap, so then I automatically go. It's based on the needs and strengths of that student and matching that. So Amanda Patton, who is our highly capable teacher, part of her job, does a really good job at trying to identify what some of the interests and needs for enrichment are for some of our kids. She just wrapped up a robotics unit and coding unit for our kids. I had the opportunity to come see it. It was amazing. They kind of kicked our, celebrated. They had Mr. Coos and the robotics team come and show, this work that you did at Grand Mound, this is what it's going to look like at the high school. Mr. Meyer was there from the middle school. So our 5th graders were very interested in what Mr. Meyer's robotics program was going to look like and the opportunities that they were going to have next year when they go to the middle school. So that's just a sample of some of the project-based units that Amanda's doing. We do offer at the middle school, we telescope for math. That's gonna allow them to take Algebra 1 as an 8th grader. We offer an enrichment ELA. So very similar to what Will had talked about, we do have an enrichment ELA. That's what it's all called, but that is a course taught by Megan Baker, specifically designed for students that are showing a high level of mastery at skills. A lot of our highly capable students attend that enrichment. Again, reinforcing that it's not a high cap enrichment, it's a service for students that are highly achieving at ELA. Some of our tier 3, these are kind of our exceptions to the rules, but we do offer them for students that are really demonstrating a need for some more intensive enrichment and highly capable service. That can include early entrance to kindergarten, grade level advancement, sometimes grade subject level advancement, and independent study of our online courses in 6 for 12. So again, when we think about tiers, that is such a small portion of a smaller portion of students anyway, but we do offer those historically. I think that's it, unless you have questions. Yes.
No questions, same as last year.
Same song, different verse. I just need you to approve the grant.
Is that what we're at?
Yep.
We have any other questions? Board members? All right. So at this point, do I have to read this? Just do the motion. Okay. Well, at this time, we're looking for a motion to approve our highly capable program plan.
So moved.
Second.
First and seconded, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. You'll be able to use it next year too.
We're just rolling
And this is something we have to approve each year.
every
correct?
year. Yes.
Wonderful, congratulations. All right, next on our list of new business is school impact fees, mitigation fees.
So these are these are the school impact fees. I'm proposing that we maintain and continue the current rate for our school impact fees for this next year.
I don't see it in the packet, but I think we saw it in another communication that showed where we compare to
Correct.
Lebanon, where the high end, which is an adjustment we made a couple years ago.
Correct.
Seems like that's holding.
We'll continue to watch that.
Yeah.
Now we charge a higher fee, but we want to protect the taxpayers of our community. You know, where the burden is placed on the builders of new construction that are moving in.
No motion, and then we want to have discussion.
Oh, yep, apologies.
That's all right.
I'm trying to look this over too. All right, so at this point, do I have a motion to approve continuing our impact fees and not changing the rate for this year?
So moved.
First,
Second.
we have a second. Right. I guess now we're at that point of discussion. So, yeah, pretty much what I was just saying that I'm aware of is protecting the taxpayers of our community. And that's the importance of keeping these, we raised them a couple of years ago. I believe when John was on the board, we had had these conversations. I'm fine with them at where they are. All right. So, any other comments or debate of the motion? Okay. At this point, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, aye. No opposed? The motion passes. Right. Next. New publishing platform.
So this is the request to approve the purchase of a new webpage, newsletter platform, school messenger platform, tool that would act as Remind for communicating individually with teachers. From a teacher, not individually, but teachers can communicate with parents as they do with Remind, but it would all be through one system. it would be through the Aptigee system and everything would be connected. Justin and Andrea and I spent some time looking at a number of different companies and really wanted one that was gonna be all encompassing, so everything was in one bundle. And there was some ease of use and looked like it would be a good communication tool for many different avenues, and this is the one that was selected. The cost is very similar to what we were paying for when we added everything else, all the other prices. Oh, sorry, it's about $5,000 different, wasn't it?
About $7,500 less.
Oh, sorry, why did I, when we added it
Oh,
all?
believe me, we're buying something, I'm
Okay,
saving money.
there we go.
So-
All right.
Love it.
Was it that much difference?
Yeah.
I thought we were right on it, okay. So we're saving money.
That.
And that's, yeah, when we pull it all together. So this is the proposal, we would have it all, we haven't yet had our meeting to plan on implementation, but hope to be implementing sometime this spring with full implementation by next fall.
Is this something, is this that contract through ESD or is this
It's
just
just,
available?
Yeah, no, this is something that after going out, we looked at 4 other vendors, including our current vendors on all of these items, and we were able to work in pricing. All these vendors are looking for end of year totals, and so we were able to work them over pretty good for some.
Justin
deals.
was able to work them off with some good deals.
What will the public notice? Like, are we gonna update? the
Webpage will look vastly different.
Much
Same
better.
colors, but vastly different.
Much better.
Yeah. Good.
And
Yes.
easier to,
Easier to
I
navigate.
think easier to do updates on the backside. It'll be. It'll look more uniform. We won't have 5 different things, 5 different companies, 5 different logins. It'll be one login to be able to do all of those things.
I think Remind is gonna be our biggest moving people away from Remind and to the tool that is in Aptigee. That's probably gonna be where we have to do our greatest coaching and
That is internally, mostly internal staff or public or parents?
well, parents have learned how to use Remind to communicate with the teachers.
Oh, okay.
So this will be
Change.
helping them understand that there's a tool that we're still gonna have that tool to do. It's just gonna look different too. It's not reminded.
Navigation.
As a.
Yes.
Didn't misremind.
Yeah, yeah, you're okay to.
What'd you say?
I didn't misremind.
This be the 25-26 school year, when we see changes.
We will start next semester.
Oh, next semester.
Yeah, so there'll be
Later.
things that will be implemented in
Later.
the spring.
Later in the semester.
Later.
Not on January
Yeah,
27th.
and we'll invite some pilot people
Yeah.
to try some things out and things like that. We'll build an overlap.
Cool.
So, not, while the things will get done, they won't be public front end done until we're ready to walk it through. So.
Cool. So eventually the parents will get a reminder when they go to turn off their morning alarm on their phone.
Yeah,
Making sure your kids on the bus and out the door and coming to school.
yes,
Sounds like a wonderful plan. And we're saving money. Great,
yes.
great. Thank you, Justin. At this point in time, I guess, do I have a motion to approve the purchase of our new publishing platform, Aptigee?
So move.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Like, much a tattle of our discussion. So at this point in time, yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right. Next, looks like Justin's up again. Chromebooks, do we have to approve this?
Yep.
Yep, so
Alright.
this is, this set of Chromebooks so the 79 taken care of by the grant, plus this 101 will totally replace the 8th grade Chromebooks that should have been replaced at the beginning of the school year. And then these 8th graders will have these Chromebooks all the way through the end of their high school. So they'll be 4.5 years beat up by the time they're done doing it. So,
Can you remind us, Justin, what happens to the ones that are, do they just go to surplus or do we have a?
they go to surplus, but what I will tell you is there's many of the parts are not left on them by the time we are done with them and we send them off to surplus because we strip anything and everything off them that we can to repair.
Fix.
Yeah, so I will tell you our repair budget. I don't think even this year, I don't even think I've spent $500 in repairs, but we have done thousands of dollars worth of repairs because we just keep stripping parts off old Chromebooks to put on the new ones. So, or the ones that get abused or used by students. So.
You remember the surplus room over here that we put on for surplus, where Justin had that whole room full of laptops. He was
Still there, yeah.
ripping and ripping.
Oh, yeah.
So, awesome, awesome.
It looks like a little sweatshop in there sometimes. Sorry.
No, it does not.
It's because Josh has got the heat turned up and he's in there all sweaty, you know, get things taken care of.
There are no secrets there.
I know nothing. He's all right.
I'd like to move to.
I'll second that. All right, do we have any discussion? No, yeah, we're not gonna have that conversation. Yeah, but, okay, we had to say it. Okay, at this point, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, all right, first reading of policy.
So there are 4 policies here, and I'll just go through them quickly. If you have any questions, more than happy to answer them, but this is just our first reading. The first one is student discipline, and this is based on emergency rules that OSPI just put into place. They are aiming to make it discipline and discipline procedures a little bit more flexible again. If you think of a pendulum, we really swung to the right with the pendulum saying we shouldn't be suspending or removing any kids from classrooms at all. And now we're starting to see the pendulum swing back a little bit where there's some flexibility in doing so in moderation and making sure we're watching who we're suspending and why we're kicking kids out and making sure we're providing the educational options when they're out. But we're seeing it start to swing back where we're saying, yes, we do sometimes need to have kids removed from classrooms. So it allows us to do that. And then there's a lot of update in language. One of the things is instead of an emergency, not expulsion, emergency expulsion. Now it's an emergency removal. So changing names and things, so it's a little bit more not alarming to some people. But that's what this one is about. We have updated the policy or the policy. We need to work on updating our procedures to align with this. So we still have work to do on the procedures. So you'll only be voting on normally only vote on the policy, but I just want you to know that the procedures are a work in process. Policy 3432 is the next one on the slide. And no, it's emergencies. There we go. There is very little changes to this policy. The big update is that it clearly articulates in there that we need to make sure that we inform our substitute teachers and other temporary staff about any emergency protocols or procedures that we have in our building. Aligns with some updates were made to RCWs, but that's the big change in this one. In 4200, this one is parent access and safe and orderly learning environment. This one, we changed the board policy to clarify and speak to no trespass and when we can issue no trespass to people who are on our property. The big change on this one, that no trespass language is now in the board policy, but the big change to this one is the procedures, where the procedures now are outlining a lot more specifically about what we can do when people are on our property, not doing what they should be doing, acting inappropriately or being in a state that we don't want them on the property. It includes our school, building properties and our properties that don't, like the district office or roof or any of our properties, how we can handle that. So that's all included in our procedures. So the procedures are well outlined, and it does specifically say in there, the no trespass information and how somebody can appeal a no trespass as well.
I'm just wondering because of, I guess, encampments and such, does it include the property that we own up on the hill that doesn't have any buildings or anything of that nature?
So it does have language in it now. This is new. It has no trespass language in there where we can clearly mark our property where we don't want people to be. So yes, it does.
It is,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. It's in the procedure. So that's what 4200 is. And then 6210. This one it speaks to the board needing to approve expenditures for capital outlay. Right now, it says that anytime we spend more than $10,000 on capital outlay, we need to have board approval. We're asking for that to be increased to $50,000. Really, because $10,000 doesn't buy what it used to. And it just allows us to be a lot more efficient in moving through things. We still have to follow bid processes. We still need to follow all our budget and everything. It just means we would not be coming to the board for those approvals unless we were purchasing something that was over $50,000. We are on the very low side when I compare it to other districts right now. Tenino's at $200,000 for board approval. Centralia is at 50,000. 10,000 is, I think Griffin was at $10,000. Everybody else had bumped this up. If they even had it in there anymore, a lot of districts don't even have this policy in there because it's bid process and working within the budget. One thing we could talk about is if you would like to know when we're spending this, we could make sure we put it in as information. But it is all in our expenditures as well, so.
Is this for like emergencies and stuff, like a water well problem or something, or just?
This would be
The outlay.
Yeah, this would be anytime we're spending, we're buying computers. And we are spending more than $10,000 to buy some more computers or parts to fix our internet system. If it's over $10,000, which right now it doesn't take much to get to, then we have to wait a month to be able to order it because the board has to approve it. So this would give us a little bit.
Yeah, because it'll be in the Chromebooks we just approved.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yep.
Probably could have had them last week.
Right.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I think that I would say, Neil, you and I were over at the WASDA conference when we saw some of the tools that they have for classrooms and like, oh, we need to get this. And you're like, we already got that.
Yeah.
So I think that if there's new things that are coming into the district that are kind of innovative and, enhance the educational experience, whatever, for the students, it'd be good to maybe not approve them if they don't cost that much, but just have awareness.
That'd be great.
If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
And that did remind me that at our next work session in January, our plan is to have it at the high school. So we can visit our CTE programs. over
See
there.
some of
So you can
those.
see some of those, yeah.
That kind of-
Mhm. Yeah.
Cool.
Wonderful conversations with people at Boston. Okay, all right, so we're just looking at this for the first
Yeah.
time, no action should be taken. But we are going along. And then through policy, okay. And then at this time,
We got public comment.
do we have any public comment for items that were not on our agenda tonight?
Lights are off.
Lights off,
No.
no one's in the.
Stop, there's another.
So
I think I'm sitting back here.
make sure I read this correctly. Before moving into executive session at this time, the board will be moving into executive session to talk about negotiations. We anticipate the executive session will last approximately 15 minutes. No final actions will be taken during the executive session, and upon returning, the meeting will be adjourned.
So we'll
Thank
be
you.
in exec session until 8:35, we'll say, by the time we start.
Yeah,
Everything.
Maybe
it would probably.
And we need to have out, so 8:35, we'll take 5-minute break and then we'll be in exec session.
All right. Jackson? Okay. All right. The board has concluded its executive session and is now reconvening the public portion of our meeting. As noted earlier, the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
That's you.
I didn't-
That's it.